Hi, I'm Matt. Now, this episode is a bit of a weird one for you because I'm actually going to recommend that you do not buy a model. I'm going to give you an alternative instead. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Rainbow EPP 970 flying wing, which has been and turned up on Banggood today. Now, why would I be telling you not to buy this model? In short, I've flown its cousin and it is about the worst model I've ever flown. It's absolutely terrible. Now, this model, if I can get this up on the screen, it's by a company called Red Eagle. Now, why did that Red Eagle go like alarm bells in my head? Is because Hobby King do a very similar model for a combat slope soaring wing, and it is absolutely awful. Let me just share my history with this wing. I bought it. I put a small motor on it, and it was an absolute dog to fly. And I really mean it. It's terrible. It flaps, for number one. Literally, I've not seen a model flap so hard before. So I put a great big spar through the middle of it, and that tamed it down a bit. But the roll on it was diabolical. The servo connections were just crap, and I worked on that model for like 3 or 4 times and I just didn't get anywhere. So actually this is a double mini review for you. Do not buy the combat slope wing from Hobby King because it's absolute rubbish, and a very similar model made by exactly the same company has been and turned up on Banggood. It's so familiar to me, and it's got such a silly high price tag on it, $43 plus shipping. Don't get it. And what I'm going to actually do, I'm going to publicly ask Andrew Horseman, who has owned 3 of these models, and one of them I actually gave to him, okay, because it was that bad. I was like, Andrew, have it. If you do something with it, it's happy days. And no, it didn't make a very good slope soaring wing at all. It just flew horribly, and it kind of epitomizes everything bad in a wing. And let me just, for 100% clarification, that's the one which I bought from Hobby King. It was terrible. Like, honestly, it's the worst wing I've ever owned. And now seeing the one which they've got on Banggood, again, it's from exactly the same company, the same manufacturer, and all they've done is made a plywood pod for the middle of it. Don't waste your money on it. If you've got $40 to buy for a wing, instead I would strongly, personally suggest you go for a flying blade. I've got my second one here. I'm setting this one up as a slope soarer. Let me just show you the underside. Brilliant little models. One of the best $40 I've ever paid for a model is one of these, and it's probably going quite well with my sunburn because we've been out flying today. But on a serious point, the Flying Blade, absolutely brilliant model. It's cheaper than the other one which we were looking at a few moments ago. Get one of these instead. They're absolutely brilliant. So yeah, by the way, the other one's still in the car because I've been out with it today. So let me keep this as short and brief as possible. Rainbow 970 wingspan flying wing, absolute crubbish, or likely to be absolute crubbish. And the reason why I know that is because I've had exactly the same or similar wing. And again, you don't see the Red Eagle markings on that model, but it does come with Red Eagle markings on there. It was on the box. It's the same manufacturer, and that wing was terrible. And this one looks exactly the same. And I would really hate for you to waste your money on a POS wing. So, and no, I don't own this exact version, and I will never own this exact version, and I strongly hope with the help of this episode that you also won't own that wing. Instead, if you've got $40 kicking around, go for a flying wing, go for the Flying Blade. They're absolutely brilliant. I've done a kind of like a mini review on these before. They are absolutely skits, and like I said, this is the second one which I've been and bought out of my own money, and they're absolutely brilliant. And I'm setting this one up for a slope soarer, but you'll also notice I kept the motor mount on the back, so I can change it to a power model at a later date. So with that said, for myself, Matt, I sincerely hope that you found this episode helpful to you. Any questions about the other POS, and I'll ping Andrew and ask him to put a note, and I'll pin it to the video on YouTube so that he can give you his honest thoughts on the wing which we were talking about, which is actually the slope soaring combat wing from Hobby King, but that one there is exactly the same company and most likely exactly the same absolute crubbish. So, on that note, from myself, Matt, happy flying, see you soon, cheerios!